Hey guys, it's Mrs. Gloom, and I'm going to continue reading our chapter book, Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, at chapter 15, Right and Wrong. I got to Mrs. Donatello's English class with 47.5 minutes left in the day. The clock was ticking. On my life. One of them, at least. After attendance, Donatello told us that we are going to read parts of Romeo and Juliet aloud in class. It was written by Mr. William Shakespeare, who I believe is famous for writing the most boring plays in the history of the universe. This is a little advanced, Donatello told us, but I think you kids are up to it. Obviously, she didn't know the first thing about me. Allison Prouty, who raises her hand for everything, helped give out the scripts while Donatello told us which parts we each had. When she got to me, she said, "Rafe, I think you'd make a fine Paris," and then everyone in the room started laughing right at me. Paris? I asked. Why do I have to read a girl's part? Paris is a boy, Donatello told me. He's one of Lord Capulet's best men. Yeah, well, he probably still wears tights, I said, but Donatello ignored me. Listen to the language as we read through, she told everyone. Notice how every line has 10 syllables. Notice the subtle rhyming. That's not easy to do. Nobody wrote like Shakespeare. Nobody. And I thought, idea in progress. Please stand by. Let's begin, Donatello said. Act 1, Scene 1. It turned out this Paris guy, he really was a guy, doesn't come in till page 12. That was good because it gave me time to work through my idea. Donatello probably thought I was taking notes, like Jeannie Galetta and the other brainiacs, but I was actually hot on the trail of those 30,000 points. 10 syllables per line? Check. Rhyming? Check. By the time we got to my part, there were only a couple minutes left in class, but I was ready. Act 1, Scene 2, Donatello read. Lord Capulet and Paris enter. Jason Rice was Lord Capulet, and he had the first line. It went something like, "But Montague is bound as well as I," and blah, blah, blah. "For men so old as we keep the peace," and blah, 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 blah. I told you it was boring. Now it was my turn. Put the paper over my script and looked down like I was reading from the right place. Then loud and clear I read, "Excuse me, sir, there's dog poop on your shoe." "Rafe!" Donatello shouted, but not as loudly as everyone else was laughing, so I kept going. "Your wife is ugly, and your daughter too. I think this play is stupid, so guess what? I'm out of here, and you can kiss my—" That's as far as I got before Donatello the Dragon Lady ripped the page right out of my hand. I knew I was in trouble, but I'll tell you this much. It was totally worth it. Everyone besides Donatello was still laughing, including Jeannie Galetta. Yes. And the thing was that nobody was laughing at me anymore. Now they were laughing with me, and that's like the difference between night and day, or wet and dry, or in this case, losing and winning. Chapter 16. Thin ice is better than no ice at all. Donatella didn't have to tell me to stay after class. It kind of went without saying. Once everyone was gone, she gave me a real talking to. "What was that about, Rafe?" she asked. "Nothing," I told her. "It wasn't nothing," she said. "First of all, let me say that I noticed you kept Mr. Shakespeare's meter and rhyme in what you wrote." "Thanks," I said. "But your behavior was completely unacceptable. There are much better ways to use your creativity, and I think you know it." I nodded a lot while she talked. It seemed like the right thing to do. "I'm going to give you a warning this time," Donatella said, "but you're skating on very thin ice. Understood?" Nod, 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 nod. I didn't hear a whole lot of what she said. All I could think about was, that was 35,000 points for the day. I'd taken Leo's challenge and blown it out of the water. Even better, I now knew for a fact that Jeannie Galetta knew I existed. That's what I call progress. As I was leaving, Donatella said, "I hope you've learned a lesson, Ray." "Oh, definitely," I told her, "a really good one." And the lesson was this. There were two ways to play Operation Rafe, the boring way and Leo's way. Oh, and I also learned that Leo the Silent is a genius. Chapter 17. New Rule. When I got home that afternoon, I went straight to my room with Leo, and we started putting everything that had happened so far in my Operation Rafe notebook. The rules I'd broken, the points I'd earned, and even some of Leo's pictures to document the whole thing. We were just messing around, minding our own business, when I heard Bear start to roar from down the hall. "What are you doing?" he yelled. Then I heard Georgia. "Nothing," she said. "I just wanted to—" "I'm watching that. Don't change the channel." "But you were sleeping." "No buts," he yelled. "You can watch the game with me or you can get out of here. What's it going to be?" A second later I heard footsteps and then Georgia's bedroom door slammed. I hated when he yelled at her like that, even more than when he yelled at me. She was just a little kid and, well, he's kind of just a little kid too, but the biggest, meanest little kid you ever saw. "Pick on someone your own size," I yelled down the hall. "Mind your own beeswax," Bear said back, and then he turned up the volume on the TV. It wasn't even worth trying to argue. You know what? Leo said as soon as I closed my door. We need a new rule. I was just thinking the same thing, I said. Nobody should get hurt from playing Operation Rafe. Especially little kids, Leo added. And I agreed. I mean, if Miller the Killer accidentally landed in the paper shredder, I wasn't going to cry about it. But otherwise, call it don't be a bear rule, Leo said. How about just the no hurt rule, I said. Good enough, said Leo, and he wrote that down in the notebook too. I'm not saying that I'm some kind of saint. I'm not even saying this made me a better person, whatever that means. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But if putting the no hurt rule into the game could make me even a little bit less like Bear, then I was all for it, because Bear was all about hurting. Chapter 18. Teachers want to break me, but I don't break. You know those vampire story where the new guy doesn't want to drink anyone's blood until he gets a taste of it, and then all he can think about is blood, blood, blood? Okay, maybe that's not a good example. The point is now that I really knew how to play the game, I was starting to get into it. I spent the next couple of weeks just working on my technique. Leo started giving me bonus points for creativity, and that helped me be motivated. But Leo wasn't the only one helping. This might be a good time to introduce you to some of the other people at the Hills Village Prison for Middle Schoolers who motivated me to be the best I could be at Operation Rafe. Check it out. These are the Cafeteria Ladies. I call them Millie, Billy, and Tilly. They're part of a government program to get rid of the middle school population in this country, one lunch at a time. This is my Spanish teacher, Senor Wasserman. He's okay as long as you don't make any mistakes, but if you do, watch out. Mr. Latimer is the gym teacher. And I'm not kidding when I say that nobody ever told him he wasn't in the army anymore. That last one put me over the top. Mr. Lattimore didn't think the old scooter switch was very funny. Of course, Lattimore had his sense of humor surgically removed in 1985. He gave me 30 push-ups, 2 extra laughs, and ta-da! My very first detention. I mean, it's not like I wanted detention, but at least I got something out of it. I guess you could say I was on a roll. Even when I got home that day, I was lucky. There was a message on the machine from Mrs. Strickler telling Mom to call the school. That wasn't the lucky part. Duh. The lucky part was I got to it first and accidentally on purpose hit the erase button. Mom was at work, Bear was asleep, and Georgia was digging a hole to Australia for all I knew. As long as nobody had planted any secret cameras around the house, hey, you never know, then I was going to be fine.